I smell a tier list. What is going on, guys? We're doing a tier list on the exotic hand cannons in Destiny 2. We're going to go through every single one of them. I think there's only 8. And we're going to be going through which ones you should be using, which ones are S tier, which ones are D tier. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, let's get into it. When talking about an exotic hand cannon tier list, I had to start off with something so grand that you can get a base on greatness from here. With a time to kill of 0.87 seconds with no perks active, I can't wait to get into this one. Ace of Spades is a 140 hand cannon with the perk Memento Mori as its shining star. There are a few things about this hand cannon that make it truly great. For starters, the intrinsic trait allows you, after getting a kill, to walk around with a clip-based kill clip. You did not hear that wrong. You get to walk around with a kill clip that is not time-based, but it is dedicated to the amount of bullets that you shoot out. This allows you to do 90 to the head, which is pre-nerf 120 damage, at a 140 rate. Not to include that getting headshot kills with this weapon causes Firefly, and when Memento Mori is active, a slightly larger explosion for more damage. Secondly, when aiming down sights, your radar will remain active. This allows you to hold down lanes or a peek angle while also having the opportunity to see if someone's pushing you from behind and all angles around you. The only downside to this truly unique gun is the lack of a rangefinder and Icarus grip. Jumping with this gun is a big death sentence if you hope to hit any shots at all, so stay on the ground when you're shooting this gun. Personally, I really enjoy this hand cannon as it seems to have everything that I need for a successful gunfight. The only drawback that I sometimes encounter is the range sometimes falls slightly short, but that's just me used to the old 120 meta. I can confidently say that after using this hand cannon for many weekends and trials and in PvP, that I would put this in the S tier category as it just has everything that you could possibly need in one single exotic hand cannon. Now, before we get into the last word, I have to say right away that this is in fact a controller weapon primarily. The strong aim assist it has on controller is what makes it such a beast in PvP, and I'm about to show you why. The last word has been a special exotic since the times of Destiny 1. It has been a fan favorite, and not just because of the intrinsic perk Fanfire, but when firing from the hip, this hand cannon has a time to kill of just 0.53 seconds, which goes hand in hand with it being a 225 RPM. No, I did not stutter. This bad boy hip fires at a rate of 225 rounds per minute. The perk Fanfire deals bonus damage on crit shots when firing from the hip, which also gives more accuracy with the more shots that you do land. Though the range you want to sit in while using this hand cannon is around 15 to 20 meters, a little bit shorter than traditional hand cannons, but the ease of use and the deadly time to kill more than makes up for its shortcomings. With the most recent buff to hip firing weapons, this one is a must if you enjoy using hand cannon and snipe, especially if you're on controller. Now let's talk about this weapon on mouse and keyboard. Now there are plenty of players who enjoy the last word, and some of which enjoy it on mouse and keyboard, and although they aren't in the wrong, it's not too recommended as there isn't nearly as much aim assist, which is night and day between the two inputs on this weapon. Something similar, if you want a comparison, would be a gun such as Dead Man's Tale, which is far easier to land shots on mouse and keyboard, but it also gives you an idea of how it feels to use last word on controller. All in all, I do love this gun as it gives those sweet memories back to Destiny 1, but to put it fairly, on M&K, this would be a C tier at best due to the lack of aim assist, as well as there being a lot of other options to use that are far better. As for controller players, due to the last word having a forgiving shot as well as taking advantage of not having to ADS, which, keep in mind, does allow you to keep your radar open at all times, makes this an optimal close range weapon, thus landing this into the S tier for our lovely controller players. I'm gonna be honest, Thorn was one of my favorite hand cannons in Destiny 1, and if you're a D1 veteran, then you remember when Thorn was king with its insane tick rate and frustrating deaths. Thorn is a 140 RPM adaptive frame exotic hand cannon. Its intrinsic perk is Mark of the Devourer, which when shooting a target, not only does it do damage over time, but kills with this weapon create a small orb called a Remnant. Picking this up gives you some ammo back, and for a short time gives you a small damage buff, which increases the initial damage shot, as well as increasing the damage over time perk. Now, depending on how high or how low your opponent's resil is, you might be able to one-head, two-body, or even two-shot the unlucky son of a gun. Now, this only lasts for about 6 seconds. The downside of the Remnants is that you have to walk over to where the body is and pick it up, which can put you in an unforgiving position. Comparing to a hand cannon like Ace of Spades, it just gives you the damage perk upon a kill. One of the downsides is that with only 9 in the chamber, it does have a non-optimal range of attack to about 25 meters. There are rumors of a catalyst for the gun, but it's been whispers of the tower for quite some time. If said catalyst were to buff range, well, there would be no stopping this beast from dominating all areas of PvP. The same anti-jump mechanics of Ace, as both guns don't have Icarus, means in-air accuracy is a no-go, unless of course you're rocking something like Lion's Rampant or eat a nade and float on your Warlock. To finish it off, one major perk worth noting is if you fancy yourself a Trials of Osiris match or an Elim game mode, shooting your opponent with one bullet can cause tick damage for long enough so that you can move in and ruin an opponent's res. Just food for thought, something that I personally use it for when I'm in a Trials game. Overall, my nostalgia aside, I would have to rank Thorn into a B tier. We will see what the future holds as far as the catalyst, and if that changes the gun drastically enough to move it from B tier to possibly an S tier meta. Crimson is a 415 rounds per minute burst hand cannon, and I'm not gonna lie, this thing is just awkward. It's the love child of a hand cannon and a pulse rifle, which by some degree players could say is an amazing combination. But in this instance, I would have to say no, not at all. What makes this hand cannon exotic is a combination of an intrinsic perk, Banned Weapons, which provides the 3-round burst shot that Crimson is known for. Now, what makes the combo is the other perk, Cruel Remedy. This is responsible for getting your health to regen on kills. You may be praising this on paper, but in-game is another story entirely. Due to the 3-round burst, peak shooting, one of the main advantages of using a hand cannon, is sort of non-existent. The long burst time creates a few moments too long that you have to sit out in the open, allowing your opponent to 3-tap you on the forehead with a single-shot hand cannon. Not to mention, the reticle on this gun was absolutely unpleasant to use. When I was making the video for this video, it was just rising to the point where you may as well close your eyes and shoot, because the way it kicks, it makes whatever you're looking at just disappear. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a very, very sexy looking hand cannon, but unlike its older brother from D1, Red Death, this just does not compare, especially when it's in the hand cannon slot. I asked a few other friends who frequent the sticks, and on controller, this exotic is actually not so bad. The aim assist is a bit like Last Word, where it helps with that recoil and adds just a little bit of ease when shooting your opponent. To make this nice and short, because, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, I really did not like this hand cannon at all. For M&K, dare I say, I would rate this one in the D tier category. You're never going to catch me using this in any point in time. I even thought about it for PvE. Probably not. It's just not really pleasant to use. Now, for those on controller, it may be a little bit closer to the B or even the A tier category, respectively. Lumina is another 140 RPM exotic hand cannon, but this one is not like the rest. For those of you who have played Overwatch, consider this. Those who wield this weapon have now been transformed into the mercy of the team. And let me explain to you why. What makes this hand cannon exotic is also a combination of two perks. First one being the intrinsic perk of Noble Rounds. When you get a kill, a small white orb similar to Thorn's green orbs will appear on the body, making our segue to the second perk called Blessing of the Sky. When you pick up those white orbs, it will allow you to hip fire a shot that, when hitting an ally, will give them a health regen and a small damage boost for a short time. Get what I mean about the whole mercy thing? Yeah, I know, a genius connection. While you can't res your entire team in one swoop, in game modes that involve 6 players or more, like Iron Banner or Control, it can really come in handy. Other than the perks to heal and give your teammates a buff, the shot itself is crispy, but overall, nothing that's too amazing. With a 44 stat range, it won't reach ace distances, but can get the job done if sticking close to your team. Sadly, this hand cannon is never really used in game modes like Trials or even Iron Banner, as there are far better choices, and let's be honest, Who wants to be the healer of their team in a game like Destiny 2? And despite its great looks, I'm going to have to rate Lumina in the C tier. Hawkmoon is a 140 RPM exotic hand cannon. This is an exotic that had its time to shine in Destiny 1 with its legendary roll of Luck in the Chamber, which caused one random bullet to cause extra damage, and holding aces, where an additional 2 more random bullets caused additional damage. In a 13-round mag, 3 of those bullets were destined to do great damage. But in Destiny 2, we don't have those cool perks. Instead, we have a chance of getting different rolls to fully customize our hand cannon how we like. Rolls like Opening Shot, Rangefinder, Killing Wind, among many other great rolls are possible to get in the newest version of Hawkmoon. Would I have preferred the old one versus having all these options? Yes. Why? Because I'm a wild card, and I like the surprise of doing massive damage to an opponent. To be fair, Luck in the Chamber seems to be a bug in all hand cannons, as at times you can randomly damage glitch an unfortunate opponent. But let's get back on track. Aside from the random rolls, what makes this exotic hand cannon is a perk called Pericostal Shot. This allows you to rack up damage boost based on the amount of headshots you hit prior to hitting that last bullet. Stacking this last bullet to a ×7 can one-shot body the enemy. I highly recommend to go get the catalyst, as it does boost handling, reload speed, and range based on the number of headshots you have stacked up. I went into the Shattered Throne, took no more than 10 minutes to get, and I highly recommend it if you plan on trying this hand cannon out. Once you can get over the mental habit of reloading after every shot and saving that last bullet for one unfortunate guardian, this can be a really fun hand cannon to use. Keep in mind, like most exotic hand cannons, this does not have Icarus, so in-air shots or jump shots will not be on target, as well as it is lacking a little bit in the magazine size at 9 shots overall. All in all, guys, I actually really like Hawkmoon. The only downside, I guess, is farming that mission to get different rolls to get the one you want, but I'm going to be putting Hawkmoon in the A tier category. Sunshot is one of those guns that when you see it, you already know your screen's about to get flashbanged every second. This exotic hand cannon, being the only 150 exotic in the game, is the last of its kind. After 150s went to 140s, it seemed Sunshot was the only one to stay in that 150 RPM slot. Confusing? Yes. Good for us? Absolutely. This exotic hand cannon has explosively good perks. God, that hurt to say. Its intrinsic perk is Sunburn. This is what gives the gun its explosive shots, as well as highlighting enemies that take damage from Sunshot. The other unique perk, Sunblast, is very similar to Firefly, but in the sense that you do not have to get a headshot to send your opponents into a hurling ball of fire. Without a catalyst, the weapon's range is pretty not great, but with the catalyst, it has great range, handling, and stability, as well as a great anti-sniper flinch mechanic already built in. Take that, you back of the map Andes. Now they can't hear me. Anyway, this weapon is fun to use, period. Whether you're using it in trials to sweat it out or a 6v6 game mode such as Iron Banana, this will put a smile on your face and a big old red sunburn on the enemy's forehead and bodies. One of the downsides is the unique recoil pattern, which almost like Crimson will sometimes block your view of the enemy when firing at max rounds per minute. Overall, this weapon may not be the most used hand cannon in the game, but man is it fun. I really want to give this exotic an A tier rating, but it would be selfish of me, as one of the main reasons would be due to making my enemies explode. We will sit this one in B tier, but just know it's an A tier in my heart. Malfeasance is a 180 RPM exotic hand cannon, and if you got this during the quest, well, I salute you. This is by far one of the most difficult hand cannons to obtain for 2 reasons. For starters, you had to play a ton of Gambit. Secondly, you had to pray that you found the meatball and killed it before the enemy team so that you can even get the quest. In today's world of 140s and 120s, a 180 RPM hand cannon just doesn't really have a place. What makes this hand cannon exotic is the intrinsic perk Explosive Shadow. This perk allows you to shoot tainted slugs. Get 5 slugs into the enemy and these bullets will explode into your target, causing fatal damage. I would praise this gun on being fantastic for being able to kill someone from an incredible distance just from 5 body shots. Other than that, like most exotic hand cannons, this also lacks Icarus or any semblance built into this frame. One thing you will notice is the incredible stability and amazingly large magazine size of 20 bullets per magazine. Where this hand cannon truly shines is in Gambit, and Gambit alone. It has a perk called Taken Predator, which allows you to deal extra damage to Taken as well as Gambit invaders. Now, I will let you in on a little secret. You know that one Behemoth Titan strat that annoys the hell out of everybody? Well, this gun counters that pesky overshield. If you and 2 other teammates put this on against those Titans, well, they won't be able to break their pesky ice crystals fast enough. All in all, guys, I hate to say it, but in regular PvP, as far as 3s and 6s, this weapon is in the D tier category, but for Gambit, it is easily an A tier or a B tier. Now, I know I'm going to get a bit of flack here, but let's go ahead and talk about Sturm. This is a 120 RPM kinetic exotic hand cannon. Its intrinsic perk, Accomplice, allows you to refill the magazine of any energy weapon you have when getting kills with Sturm. The other perk, Storm and Stress, allows you to use this in Tatum with the sidearm Drang. Kills with Drang not only gives Sturm an overflow of bullets, but allows you to stack damage bullets on your next few shots. Now, here's where things get a little bit messy for me. After the 120 nerf, 120s are just kind of okay. Having to use a 120 with a sidearm on mouse and keyboard is a bit of a deal breaker. Much like Last Word, sidearms are primarily used amongst controller players as it has a bit more aim assist compared to mouse and keyboard players. On its own, Sturm is an okay 120 with a small perk that allows your secondary to refill on kills, which is very situational. But being forced to pair it with a sidearm just kind of makes the whole thing a meh weapon. With the damage perk active, you can 2-tap Guardians, but again, that is only after getting multiple kills with the sidearm. So if you're gonna use this combo, I would say 6v6 would be the game mode, as it would be too situational in a 3v3 environment. Keep in mind the lack of Icarus, and for me, the strange recoil is what makes this gun a little bit awkward to use. So without further ado, in the last gun on the list, I'm gonna put this bad boy in the C tier category. Listen, don't hate me. Just put it in the comments. It's fine. I can take it. You're still here watching this? What the hell is going on? No one watches this far into the video. Well, if you're still here, I might as well just say, if you guys are here, prove it. Comment down below your favorite snack, and I'll give you guys $5. I'm lying. And a message from our sponsorship, guys. If you love Advanced as much as I do, use code Matty at checkout. Gets you 10% off. It supports me. It supports the stream. And, you know, it just helps me out. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.